came out of a bottle. Get rid of mental illness before world peace. Why? Peace is temporary. We know that. Mental illness is too often forever. I'm sorry to be heavy, but I have never argued anything to you that matters more than this. That's all for us tonight. Thank you for watching. CNN Tonight with D. Lemon starts right now.
We've all dealt with it. Either ourselves or someone we love, someone in our family, friends, coworkers, we've all dealt with it, and it's time for the stigma to go away. I was speaking on the plane the other day to someone who works with these sorts of things, and she said, and I hope I have it correct, she said it's a brain disease with behavioral and psychological effects. It's a disease of the brain, and as long as we understand that and learn that there is no stigma. There's nothing wrong with going to see a psychologist or a psychiatrist for help. It's actually really good if you do that. There's nothing wrong with being prescribed by a doctor drugs for depression or for bipolar disorder or for anything. There's nothing wrong with that. We should encourage people to do that. So I commend you for what you just did. Let's take the stigma off of this. I know we say it, but darn it, we should do it.
I think you're 100%. But you know, you're an open person, and you are not.
I've dealt with depression myself.
And you are
so
not. Makes you completely common, by the way. Makes you completely common. And what really needs to change in society is it really has to be reversed. That when you know somebody isn't okay, and often we do. Wait, you're not seeing anybody? You haven't gone to a doctor? If you saw me sneezing and blowing my nose all the time, you'd say, you need to go to a doctor, man. There's obviously something going on.
Right.
If you see somebody that's off and they're just not right, you want to approach them. You want to talk to them. We have to get to that point in this society where we're talking to each other about it, where it's weird if you're not getting help. Not weird because you are.
So I spoke with, you know, Riley Howell. You did a fantastic tribute of him last night. I spoke to his aunt, and a couple of his aunts were there as I spoke to him. And they were so heartened by what you did last night. They mentioned it to me, and they wanted me to tell you thank you for what you did in your closing arguments.
Well, I know you. You're so good to people. I know that you thank them.
Yes.
Because that kid gave us a reminder of what there is potentially inside all of us.
Real heroism. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Good to see you. This is CNN Tonight. Oh, and I'll see you a little bit later on tonight on one of those shows that you're going to be on later. Chris, is he there? He's gone? Make sure you watch Chris. I think he's going to be on. Chris, are you there?
Oh, I'm always here.
You're going to be on Colbert, right?
I am.
And you did something. Is it going to be on the air what you did to him?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Let's get after it.
Yeah.
The best part of the whole segment, you weren't mentioned.
Okay, whatever. This is CNN Tonight. I'm Don Lemon. So let's talk about this. The White House would like you to believe that it's all over. It's fait accompli. Nothing to see here. Move along. But the legal battle over Mueller, the Mueller investigation, is really just getting started. The latest salvo is the president. The president says he won't let Don McGahn testify before Congress.
I've had him testifying already for 30 hours.
So is the answer no?
And it's really, so I don't think I can let him and then tell everybody else you can't, because especially him, because he was a counsel. So they've testified for many hours, all of them. Many people.
So as far as you're concerned, it's really, it's kind of done.
I can't say, well, one can and the others can't.
Okay, so is it done?
I would say it's done. We've been through this. Nobody has ever done what I've done. I've given total transparency. It's never happened before like this.
Congress had to see that coming after the president again and again ordered his aides to defy subpoenas. Remember when he said this?
Well, we're fighting all the subpoenas.
So none of that sounds like total transparency to me. So despite what the president says tonight, despite what Lindsey Graham said when he declared the investigation over yesterday, that's really just wishful thinking. The thing is just getting started. The question is, what will Congress do now? House Democrats, well, they lost the battle to get another day of testimony from the Attorney General today, preferring to hold their fire for the unredacted Mueller report. The House Judiciary Chairman, Jerry Nadler, saying this.
The challenge we face is that if we don't stand up to him together today, we risk forever losing the power to stand up to any president in the future. The very system of government of the United States, the system of limited power, the system of not having a president as a dictator is very much at stake.
And then there's the White House, accusing Robert Mueller's team of playing politics with the investigation. In a 5-page letter released today, but dated the day after the redacted Mueller report was released, the White House lawyer Emmett Flood writes that Mueller needed to, and this is a quote, either ask the grand jury to return an indictment or decline to charge the case, even though that would expressly go against Justice Department guidelines. So the guy who actually followed the regulations that say you can't indict a sitting president, the guy who is a straight arrow here, he's the one you're accusing of playing politics? And there's more, another quote. Under a constitution of separated powers, Justice Department officials should not be in the business of creating roadmaps for the purpose of transmitting them to congressional committees. Well, that's rich, coming from a White House that has attempted to bend Congress and the courts to its will. A president who has trampled all over the separation of powers. And what Emmett Flood calls a roadmap is actually evidence. Evidence gathered by Mueller and his team over the course of an almost 2-year investigation, which was his job. Mueller never called it a roadmap. He called it an effort to preserve the evidence when memories were fresh. Mueller didn't tell Congress what to do with that evidence. All of this is just more gaslighting, frankly. After all, the Attorney General proved in his testimony yesterday that he is in the president's pocket. When he should have said, the president hasn't waived executive privilege, he said, we haven't waived executive privilege.
No, we haven't waived executive privilege.
He blatantly insisted that the president had been falsely accused, even though what Mueller said was that he did not conclude that the president committed a crime. But he also did not exonerate him.
Most of the obstruction claims that are being made here, or episodes, do involve the exercise of the president's constitutional authority, and we now know that he was being falsely accused.
I don't agree with that, but that's okay.
He defended the president, who once said flipping ought to be illegal. Defended him for praising Paul Manafort for not flipping.
Discouraging flipping in that sense is not obstruction.
And the president, who is ordering aides to defy subpoenas, to refuse to give Congress information, must have liked the sound of that.
Did anyone, either you or anyone on your staff, memorialize your conversation with Robert Mueller?
Yes.
Who did that?
There were notes taken of the call.
May we have those notes?
No.
Why not?
Why should you have them?
Remember when Barr pulled the wool over our eyes, talking in his confirmation hearing about how the Barrs and the Muellers are such good friends?
The president wanted to know, he said, oh, you know Bob Mueller. How well do you know Bob Mueller? And I told him how well I knew Bob Mueller and how, the Barrs and Muellers were good friends and would be good friends when this is all over and so forth.
Well, you got to wonder whether they're such good friends now that Barr has disparaged Mueller's team.
I think that Mr. Mueller assembled what would be called a dream team, 19 all-star lawyers. Do you consider these lawyers to be the best and the brightest in the field?
Not necessarily.
Downplayed his old friend's authority.
Bob Mueller is the equivalent of a U.S. attorney. He was exercising the powers of the Attorney General subject to the supervision of the Attorney General. He's part of the Department of Justice. His work concluded when he sent his report to the Attorney General. At that point, it was my baby.
Even complained about the tone of Mueller's letter to him.
The letter's a bit snitty, and I think it was probably written by one of his staff people.
When was the last time you heard snitty? Snarky, maybe. Snitty, I haven't heard in a long time. I've said it before, Democrats are going to have to decide if they're going to respond to all this at the ballot box or with impeachment. Nancy Pelosi still walking that fine line today.
I say sometimes impeachment is the easy way out for some of these people because they know it will end at the Senate's edge. But the fact is that we still have that responsibility.
Well, she's right. Congress does have that responsibility. So here's the question. What are they going to do now? What are you going to do now? Don McGahn has already spent 30 hours answering questions from Mueller's team, and you got to wonder, what's the White House afraid of now? We'll dig into it with Frank Bruni, Jennifer Rogers, Max Boot. That's next.
Audible Originals brings you big titles from big celebs, like Heads Will Roll from Kate McKinnon and Emily Lynn, plus the latest from Mel Robbins, David Spade, and many more. Original titles, big-name celebs, all made to be heard, only from Audible.
I feel my temperature rising. Help me, I'm flaming. I must be 109.
Applebee's Bigger, Bolder Grill Combos. Now that's eating good in the neighborhood.
Be the first to play console-quality multiplayer games on the go. Be first to real-time with Verizon 5G Ultra Wideband. Get the new Samsung Galaxy S10 5G, only on Verizon.
Most homeowners draw a blank when asked what their home project should cost. That's why at Home Advisor, you can see what others paid for similar jobs in your area. Start your next home project knowing what you should pay. Go to homeadvisor.com or download the free app.
At Wayfair.com, we think that when the big stuff ships free, it's just better.
Cover better, brunch better, crunch better, rock better, roll better, whoa better, dream better, clean better. Yeah, better!
Oh, Wayfair has free shipping. Game changer.
Fast better, free better, everything's better when
Get
it's
free shipping on orders over $49. Shop better at Wayfair.com.
Wayfair, you've got just what I need.
Omar, look. Omar, check this out. Hi, yeah, I was calling to see if you do laser hair removal for men. Notice that my hips are off the ground? And then I'm gonna pike my hips back into downward dog. Hey, the rain stopped.
A bad day on the road still beats a good one off it.
Tell me about that dental procedure again. I can still taste it in my mouth.
Progressive helps keep you out there.
With Shark's Duo Clean, I don't just clean, I deep clean carpets and floors. So I got this. Yep, this too. And this, please. Even long hair and pet hair are no problem. But the one thing I won't have to clean is this. Because the Shark self-cleaning brush roll removes the hair wrap while I clean.
Shark, the vacuum that deep cleans, now cleans itself.
It's our do-it-all concealer. Instant eraser from Maybelline, New York. Iconic cushion tip does it all. Erase, shape, correct. No wonder it's America's #1 concealer. Instant eraser, only from Maybelline, New York.
This is not a bed. It's a revolution in sleep. The Sleep Number 360 smart bed from $9.99 senses your movement and automatically adjusts on each side to keep you both comfortable. And snoring? How smart is that? Smarter sleep. So you can come out swinging, maintain your inner focus, and wake up rested and ready for anything. Sleep Number is ranked #1 in customer satisfaction with mattresses by J.D. Power. Save $400 on select Sleep Number 360 smart beds, only for a limited time.
Feel the clarity of non-drowsy Claritin and relief from symptoms caused by over 200 indoor and outdoor allergens, like those from Buddy. Because stuffed animals are clearly no substitute for real ones. Feel the clarity and live Claritin Clear.
President today firing off a new salvo in the administration's battle with Congress, saying he won't let the former White House counsel Don McGahn comply with a subpoena to testify to Congress. Frank Bruni's here, Jennifer Rogers, Max Boot. Max is the author of Corrosion of Conservatism, Why I Left the Right.
Say it all together. I think we'll get some more sense of that tonight.
Thank you all, but I'm going to start with Frank tonight. Listen, the White House is, I guess you can say, laying down the law or drawing a line here, saying that they won't let McGahn testify, don't comply with the subpoenas. Why won't they let him testify? What are they afraid of?
What are they afraid of? They don't want people to hear what he has to say. They don't want him either reiterating what we know he said that's in the Mueller report or saying more than that. They don't want this story dragging out. They don't want these points made again and again. They want to turn the page. But the White House is saying much more than that. If I heard correctly the interview that Trump did earlier, he was saying he doesn't want anyone to testify, right, and he won't let anyone testify. And if he lets McGahn testify, then how does he not let the others testify? So that's it. Because Don, he wants total transparency, to which I have two words: tax returns.
Or sit-down interview with Mueller, right? So, listen, I got to ask you, they're now, Jennifer, they're now claiming that they can claim executive privilege, even though Don McGahn already testified in front of Mueller. So is that going to work?
It's not going to work. You know, it would be one thing if they were trying to claim it after just letting him testify to the special counsel, but now that the report's been released publicly and all of that testimony is public, there's no way they can.
Do they know that and they're just trying to buy time?
I think so. I mean, all of this is just stall tactics, really. You know, it's going to go to the courts going to litigate that subpoena, and then we'll have an answer. And the answer, I think, is going to be that Congress is going to get what they want.
Max, the White House is claiming now that Mueller is playing politics when he made the decision, or he was playing politics when he made the decision to prosecute or not, right? Why would they claim that when it's Barr? Barr gave them what they wanted. I mean, if Mueller had made a decision, it may not have been what they wanted.
I mean, this is so deeply disingenuous, Don. They're attacking Mueller for not making a prosecutorial decision about the president. Well, he could have made one if they had changed the Justice Department position, which says that you could not indict a sitting president. So let's see Bill Barr and Donald Trump change that position, say, oh, okay, we're going to allow you to indict the president if you want. Then, Special Counsel Mueller, you tell us what you want to do. Do you want to indict or not? Let's see them do that. They're not going to do that, obviously, because it's pretty clear that if Mueller could indict Trump, he would have done so. And in fact, there was a report that a couple of the lawyers on his team were quoted as saying just that.
This is a line from the White House counsel letter to Barr. Frank, I'm going to give this to you. Under a Constitution of separated powers, inferior Article 2, officers should not be in the business of creating roadmaps for the purpose of transmitting them to Article 1 committees. I mean, what do you think here? Is the president scared that the report leaves the door open to impeachment, you think?
I don't know, but I just think it's whatever way they can, they are trying to disparage and marginalize this report. And they're saying either that it's illegitimate or that the I mean, they're still hung up on the fact that the investigation should have never taken place. I mean, we're going to hear more and more in coming days about spying again and this notion that the Trump campaign was wronged as opposed to the villain here. But you know, what's so infuriating here, Don, is the report speaks for itself. The report clearly does not exonerate President Trump. Maybe the dots didn't link up in a way that you can say here is overt collusion, however you define that. But this campaign was receptive to working with a foreign government. You know, this campaign was receptive to having that foreign government help them at the expense of their. I mean, that's all in the report. So I don't know what it is, in a sense, that we're all arguing about here. The report speaks for itself.
It does, but most people have not read the report, and he's out there.
I'm telling them what's in it.
Yeah. And we know the report does not exonerate Trump because Trump is attacking Mueller. If you've actually been exonerated, you're not going to attack the person who's exonerating you. That's pretty basic logic that the White House is failing here.
That's too logical. You're way too logical. Here's my question, Jennifer. If, let's say, Mueller had made a decision, right, on obstruction, could all of this have been avoided?
Well, I mean, what would have been avoided is this ridiculousness from the White House counsel now and all the, you know, whining and complaining about exoneration. What we
Even
would
if
see,
he ignored the DOJ's guideline about...
He couldn't have ignored it. What he could have said is, we find that there's enough evidence. We would have attempted to indict the president by putting all this before the grand jury for an indictment, but we can't because of the policy. That's what it would have said. So we would have avoided some of the nonsense, but we still would have had the president kicking and screaming and saying, oh, but now it's the angry Democrats and they investigate the investigators. I mean, all of that I still think.
Because I hear people saying, oh, you don't, I mean, if you read it, it seems like that's, to me, and I'm not a lawyer or a legal person, but is he saying all of this in legalese and people don't understand that's what he's saying?
Pretty much. I mean, what he does is he goes through in the section on obstruction, these 10 obstructive acts, and for each of them he goes through the 3 elements of the crime. And on 6 or 7 of those, he finds evidence or substantial evidence that that element was met, which, if you do the math, means that on multiple counts he is finding that all the legal elements of the offense are met. So, yes, he did find it.
Should Mueller have pushed harder for Trump to interview Trump in person? Could that have helped his decision on obstruction?
I don't know. I mean, It's hard to second guess this now.
Absolutely.
You see, Frank?
I tell you what, if
history will judge that the big mistake.
If he interviewed him, he would have had a separate perjury count, is what he would have had, because the president would have lied. There's no question of that. But he has enough on obstruction without the interview.
Right. And don't forget, aside from all the criminal conduct that Mueller found, the report is full of impeachable conduct, such as demanding that the Justice Department investigate his political opponent, Hillary Clinton, or his contacts with the Russians. All of that stuff, the lying about what he was doing, all of that stuff is impeachable, even if it's not criminal conduct.
Nancy Pelosi did not mince words when she spoke about her thoughts on the Attorney General right after this.
Dr. Sanjay Gupta takes a voyage into one of the darkest, coldest countries in the world, Norway.
How come I'm the only one that's cold?
And encounters some of the happiest people on the planet.
It's a hard thing to explain happiness. What is it to you?
Their surprising secret for living life.
Here in Norway, they swear by it. They have a little bit of this every day.
Chasing Life with Dr. Sanjay Gupta, Saturday night at 9 Eastern.
Oh, sir, that was my grandma's. Ugh.
Don't worry, ma'am. All of your stuff is in okay hands.
Just okay?
Well, they don't give 2.5 stars to just anybody.
Here you go.
What's this?
It's your piano.
Hold this for a sec.
We don't have a piano.
But the neighbors do.
Just okay is not okay, especially when it comes to your network. AT&T is America's best wireless network according to America's biggest test. Now with 5G Evolution, the first step to 5G. More for your thing. That's our thing.
Your face is amazing, but for something so important, are you taking the best care of it? Healthy skin needs healthy skincare. This Mother's Day, get 3 facials for $150. Massage Envy. Keep your body working.
1 millionth order.
Millionth order.
There goes our first big order.
44, 45, 46. How many of these did they order?
Oh, that's hot.
You know, we could sell these.
Nah.
We don't bake.
Opportunity. What we deliver by delivering.
Before we get down to slinging, we like to set the mood.
Dim the lights, put on some musk,
and take a circ saw to our old equipment.
Ooh.
Get live TV for only $15 a month at slingtv.com.
All right, I brought in Ensure Max Protein to give you the protein you need with less of the sugar you don't. I'll take that.
30 grams of protein and 1 gram of sugar. Ensure Max Protein in 2 great flavors.
Ruby Tuesday's Pick 3, starting at just $11.99. Pick a tasty app, pick a savory entree, and pick a sweet dessert. The choice is yours. Ruby Tuesday's Pick 3, starting at just $11.99. Now delivering directly to you.
I'm on my way to New Orleans to meet with the Stokes family. Their daughter, Ashley, was hit by a drunk driver in 2008.
I want her to see the damage she's caused.
The Redemption Project with Van Jones, Sunday at 9.
CoQ10 is the #1 cardiologist recommended supplement for heart health. I take Cunol CoQ10. Why? Because Cunol has 3 times better absorption than regular CoQ10. Cunol, the better CoQ10.
Great. Another wireless ad. So many of them are full of this complicated, tricky language about their network and offers and blah, 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 blah. Look, Sprint's going to do things differently and let you decide for yourself. They're offering a new 100% total satisfaction guarantee. Try it out and see the savings. If you don't love it, get your money back. See? Simple. Now Sprint's unlimited plan comes with one of the newest phones included for just $35 a month. So switch now.
Hey, I'm Zach, CEO of Roman. Some health issues are tough to talk about. With Roman, you can go online, chat with a physician, and if treatment is right for you, we'll ship FDA-approved medication right to your door. Roman, let's take care of it.
This is CNN, the most trusted name in news.
We are back with Frank Bruni, Jennifer Rogers, and Max Boot. Okay, so Max, the Speaker Nancy Pelosi had some really strong words today about the Attorney General. Let's listen.
What is deadly serious about it is the Attorney General of the United States of America was not telling the truth to the Congress of the United States. That's a crime.
Okay, so if she really believes Barr committed a crime, then what is she going to do about it? What can she?
Well, this is the problem, Don. This is why I am filled with rage and despair about the state of our democracy, because you are seeing people like Attorney General Barr, or Obstructor General Barr, really, and President Trump get away with things that are against the law, and there are not going to be any serious consequences, because you can debate whether Barr committed perjury or not, but even if you could prove the elements of perjury, how would you possibly prosecute the Attorney General? Who would do the prosecuting? Would he appoint a special counsel to prosecute himself? I mean, the whole thing is ridiculous. Remember that one of the articles of impeachment against Nixon was that he did not comply with congressional subpoenas. These guys are not complying with congressional subpoenas. That's on top of all of the crimes under the criminal law and the high crimes and misdemeanors that are detailed in the Mueller probe. But they're not going to be impeached and removed. There is no way for Congress to enforce its subpoenas, because if they refer them for criminal prosecution to the Justice Department, Barr will laugh at them. And if they try to do it through a civil court case, it's going to take years. So there is not justice being done here, Don. This
you were apoplectic about this. When I asked you about this in the break, you were like, "This." What did you say?
I'm filled with rage and despair. It's infuriating to me. The rule of law is the foundation of our republic, and we have this criminal administration which is violating the law, and they are not suffering any repercussions because they are being protected by the Republicans in Congress. And there is nothing we can do about it for the next 18 months until the next presidential election.
So where does this go then? I mean, you heard Max. Where does this go after that? Contempt proceedings, impeachment? What happens?
Yeah, contempt proceedings. The subpoenas will be litigated. I mean, there will be no perjury case for the reasons that Max points out. Also, I don't think the legal elements of perjury are made out, even though I think he did intentionally mislead Congress and the American people. It's a big mess. It really is.
Yeah.
I don't know what else to
say. You know, I said before this whole Barr equation this last time, right? But I said that it looked like, I was telling my producers, it looked like that Democrats didn't really have much of a choice, but at least to head towards impeachment, because then they would be sort of giving a break to the guy or ignoring the rule of law, is what I said, and the procedures. So what do you think right now with Barr? If they don't take a stand with Barr, are they risking anything here?
Well, what are they going to do? I mean, they are taking a stand in terms of what they're saying in public. You know, you heard, Jerry Nadler threaten them with contempt. But there's a limit to what they can do in terms of consequences, as Max was discussing. So they are litigating this in the court of public opinion. They will litigate this in other courts. This will go on and on. But the reason impeachment is becoming so seductive to so many Democrats is because they feel so helpless, and it's something they can do. Of course, the irony is it's something they can do that leads nowhere, because once it goes to the Senate, there will be no conviction. And once again, Donald Trump skates away, maybe the most unethical president we've ever had, and a man who, by all measures, seems to be amoral, just keeps skating away from things.
Yeah, and I want to say something here to America, to people watching out there: wake up. You are part of the problem too, because people are so blasé about what Trump is doing to assault the rule of law. A majority of the public is against impeachment. And if you're against impeachment, that means there will be no consequences for the most lawless president in our history. That is a threat to our democracy.
They may be against impeachment, Max, because they think politically it's a bad bet. Some of them are against impeachment because they want Trump defeated in November 2020, and they worry that the noise of impeachment and the recriminations of impeachment will, in fact, increase the chances that he gets a second term, which I think would be a disaster for this country.
And then if he gets a second term, then the statute of limitations will have run out, and then he'll face no repercussions. But if he loses, then maybe they can do something about it.
There'll be some cops waiting.
So the reason I asked that is because the administration, they're stonewalling Congress. But can they fend off the Southern District of New York and those investigations by the New York Attorney General?
Whether they can or not, I don't know. There's a possibility they may try to interfere through the Justice Department. They can't stop some of it, including subpoenas issued by the Attorney General of New York State. They have information from Deutsche Bank that the president has blocked Congress from getting. So there are things that are proceeding that he at least hasn't yet tried to stop.
Yeah. Thank you all. I appreciate it, Max. You okay?
I'm going to be okay. I don't know if the Republic is going to be okay, Don.
Well, listen, a lot of people feel the way that you do. You're voicing the rage of many, many Americans. Thank you all again. I appreciate it. Democrats and Republicans are facing off over Attorney General William Barr and how he handled the Mueller investigation. Two people on opposite sides of the debate will weigh in. That's next.
With Shark's Duo Clean, I don't just clean, I deep clean carpets and floors. So I got this. Yep, this too. And this? Please. Even long hair and pet hair are no problem. But the one thing I won't have to clean is this. Because the Shark self-cleaning brush roll removes the hair wrap while I clean.
Shark, the vacuum that deep cleans, now cleans itself.
Searching for a beach vacation? Find it at Vrbo. They search millions of homes to find your perfect beach house, where you all find your own rooms and some quality time to find out about each other. From beach houses to cabins to condos, find vacation homes that match you with Vrbo.
We're finally back out in our yard.
But so are they.
Scott's Turf Builder Triple Action. It kills weeds, prevents crabgrass, and feeds so grass can thrive. Guaranteed.
Our backyard is back.
This is a Scott's yard.
Do your asthma symptoms ever hold you back? About 50% of people with severe asthma have too many cells called eosinophils in their lungs. Eosinophils are a key cause of severe asthma. Fasenra is designed to target and remove these cells. Fasenra is an add-on injection for people 12 and up with asthma driven by eosinophils. Fasenra is not a rescue medicine or for other eosinophilic conditions. Fasenra is proven to help prevent severe asthma attacks, improve breathing, and can lower oral steroid use. Fasenra may cause allergic reactions. Get help right away if you have swelling of your face, mouth, and tongue or trouble breathing. Don't stop your asthma treatments unless your doctor tells you to. Tell your doctor if you have a parasitic infection or your asthma worsens. Headache and sore throat may occur. Haven't you missed enough? Ask an asthma specialist about Fasenra. If you can't afford your medication, AstraZeneca may be able to help.
Maria Ramirez?
Hi.
Maria Ramirez.
Maria Ramirez.
McDonald's is committing $150 million in tuition assistance, education, and career advising programs
Maria Ramirez.
to help more employees achieve their dreams.
Fact, we all love video doorbells. Voice assistants have changed our lives. We now control our home with a touch. And you know what's better than all these things by themselves? All these things combined from the most trusted name in security, ADT.
Next Thursday, former FBI Director James Comey and AC360 Town Hall, live from D.C.
People who know better have to have the courage to stand up and speak the truth.
Anderson Cooper moderates. Next Thursday night at 8 Eastern, only on CNN.
Attention! If you or someone you love used Roundup and were diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, call Guardian Legal Network. The WHO has designated glyphosate, the main ingredient in Roundup weed killer, a probable human carcinogen. Thousands of agriculture workers may have been exposed to this dangerous product. If you were diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma after using Roundup, you may be entitled to financial compensation. Call Guardian Legal Network now. If you don't win, you pay nothing.
Call 800-604-4336.
Hiring was always a huge challenge. Endless hours on job sites with not a lot to show for it. Then, I found ZipRecruiter. They figured out hiring. I post my job, they put it all over the web, and they send me the right people, because their technology is smart. ZipRecruiter often sends me the right person in 24 hours.
ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. Try it for free today at ZipRecruiter.com/reach.
New day, tomorrow morning starting at 6 Eastern on CNN.
Democrats and Republicans are polar opposites when it comes to Attorney General Barr's handling of the Mueller report. Many Dems saying that he has no credibility and should resign, but many in the GOP are standing behind him. So I want to bring in now John Yoo, a former Deputy Assistant Attorney General in the George W. Bush administration, also Julian Epstein, who was Chief Counsel for Judiciary Committee Democrats during the Clinton impeachment. So this is going to be a fascinating conversation. So I hope everyone at home is watching. Good evening, gentlemen. John, I'm going to start with you. I want to jump right into Barr's handling of the Mueller report. And you say this, and this is a quote. You say, Mueller left a gap. Barr just filled it. And that criticism of Barr's summary makes much ado about nothing. Why do you support how he's handling this?
So, Don, first, thanks for having me back. And my first point is this fighting about Mueller's 2-page, 3-page summary of the Mueller report. it doesn't really matter because the report's out. You can all look at the report and see if it aligns with Barr's description of it or not. That overlooks what's really important in that Barr letter and what I think we should be talking about, which is Mueller chose not to reach any conclusion one way or the other about obstruction, which is a very strange thing for a prosecutor to do. But then Barr stepped into that gap and he decided, I'm the chief prosecutor for the United States. I am going to decline to prosecute President Trump for obstruction, and I'm settling the matter. As you heard in the hearings yesterday, he said the Justice Department's role in all of this is finished, done. And so Trump can't be prosecuted ever for this.
Do you think Mueller's
really
letter lines up
about.
with what's actually in? Because I think people are arguing over whether or not he shaped a narrative that was false. But so do you think it lines up with what's in the Mueller report?
I do. I don't think it's like a point-by-point summary. It is just, I think, I read the whole report and I looked at the letter. The letter is just like a summary of the bottom line, that President Trump wasn't going to be indicted either for collusion or for obstruction. Yeah, so I think it lines up pretty well. A lot of the controversy is over whether Mueller was ticked off afterwards and then sent these letters which were released.
Okay, we'll discuss that. But I want to get Julian in. We'll continue. We have more to discuss. You disagree, Julian, and say Barr is in a bad place politically and legally. Why do you say that?
Yeah, well, first of all, I think the regulations provide for the special counsel to provide the Attorney General report and then contemplates that that report would be made public. It does not contemplate the Attorney General propagandizing the report. And I don't think it's as innocent as John makes it sound. I think Barr clearly left the impression with the public that Mueller could not come to a conclusion as to whether the president obstructed justice. And that's not really accurate. What Barr says, what Mueller says in the report, and there are at least 4 instances, 6 by some people's count, where all elements of obstruction are met, and that he would have brought a obstruction case but for the Department of Justice regulations. And Barr purposefully glossed over that and kind of propagandized that and left a clearly misleading impression. And that's not his role to do under the regulations. Everybody that has read the Mueller report comes to that conclusion, I think. And I think that's what Mueller and the staff were complaining about. And so there was a certain level of dishonesty. During the Clinton impeachment, when Clinton was subpoenaed by Ken Starr, we all told Clinton that he had to comply with the subpoena, one, which Trump is not doing here, because that was the best way, and they had to comply with all of the other investigatory requests because that was the best way to get this issue behind them and to win the public argument. Mm-hmm. And the White House is doing exactly the opposite. They're propagandizing the report, they're stonewalling subpoenas, they're now attacking Mueller, and this seems to me to be completely unlearning the lessons of 1998 that we learned during the Clinton impeachment. Mm-hmm. A couple of weeks ago, the Democrats were very divided on the question of impeachment. The story was starting to die down. What Barr has done by, I think, misrepresenting the report, and what the White House is doing by stonewalling and attacking Mueller, is they are breathing new life into this entire Russian controversy, the attack on the election, the illegal attack, which Trump cheered and benefited from. They're breathing life into it. So I think from a legal point of view, I disagree with John. I think Barr was outside of his scope in how he characterized the report, mischaracterized the report. Politically, I think they're doing all the wrong things and just breathing more life into a scandal that we're going to see on the front pages now for the next 6 to 12 months.
So let's talk about that because, John said that this was, a battle over, this 4-page letter. But I think it's so much more than that. It's not just the letter. It's just, as I said, you're saying that the letter doesn't matter because the full report is now out. But it was nearly, John, a month between Barr's letter and the full report. The cake was baked. Trump had the ability to falsely claim full exoneration. Doesn't any of that matter?
Actually, I think I agree with Julian. I disagree, Julian, in one part, that the Mueller report had to be public. The regulations don't require it. It's a good thing, though, that it was made public. But I agree with Julian, and I think what you're implying, Don, which is I actually think that using prosecutors and the criminal law to try to contain an abusive president has been a mistake. It's been a 40-year mistake. It didn't work with Whitewater. It barely worked with Watergate because
John, not to cut you off here, but listen, I don't disagree. I think there are many people who don't disagree with you. You have to stop attacking, people have to stop attacking their political enemies. But that's not the subject that we're discussing here. I think people have the right to question and to understand whether a public servant who works for them has been misleading or obfuscating or has lied. So if Barr misled the American public in his letter, if he misled the American public in his testimony, if he misled the American public in his press conference, I think the American people have the right to know. You don't have concerns that if that did happen, there are no consequences for it?
I'm sorry, I thought you asked I was answering a different question. I misunderstood your question. Yeah. No, of course, the American people obviously have a right to know if the Attorney General and what he's saying is a lie. I don't think he lied to Congress. I don't think a prosecutor, I mean, we could all say colloquially, oh, I think he's lying, he's not lying. He's not committing perjury to Congress. I mean, he certainly doesn't seem to have the intent to lie. And if you look carefully at what he said, I don't think, these comments of his, like, I don't know if Mueller disagreed with me or not, that's not really the kind of lies you're talking about with perjury to Congress. Julian served in Congress. I served in the Senate Judiciary Committee during the time of Whitewater. I don't think we would have gone after someone for perjury for statements like that. It's not really a statement of fact.
Can I agree and disagree with John here? I agree, and I think the Speaker.
You don't fully, Julian. You fully agree. Come on.
I think the Speaker overstepped today when she said that he had committed a crime. I don't think what Barr said yesterday was perjury. I just don't think it meets the element. I think Barr was clear that the complaint from Mueller's office was that more information wasn't put out. So I think let's put that to the side. The issue here is Barr's honesty about the Mueller report. If Barr had said that in his summary before the Mueller report was released that there were 4 to 6 instances in which Mueller thinks that all of the elements of obstruction were met, but he decided not to bring an indictment because Trump would not have his day in court and couldn't defend himself, and we disagree with Mueller on those 4 to 6 obstruction cases, and we've decided we're not going to bring a case, the White House would be in a much, much better position right now. But there's a much longer narrative here. There's a narrative of a foreign government illegally attacking the United States, Trump benefiting from it, cheering it, and then trying to obstruct the investigation into it. And then when you connect that narrative to Mueller propagandizing the independent counsel report, as I just explained.
Mueller, or you mean Barr?
I beg your pardon, Barr propagandizing the report, as I just explained. And then all of these other extraordinary and really unprecedented efforts to stop Congress from doing its oversight.
But Julian, here's what I don't understand.
That's politically just really tin-eared.
Okay, so you said propagandizing, but isn't propaganda a lie? It's not the truth in some way. So can't you maybe you propagandizing, maybe you could be lying, but it doesn't rise to the level of perjury.
The accusation was that he lied yesterday when they asked him about whether he knew that Mueller was complaining and Mueller's staff was complaining about omissions in his 4-page summary. And he kind of danced around that, but I don't think it reached perjury grounds. Right. I think whatever term you want to use, mischaracterized, misrepresented, he clearly left the public with a misimpression. And for an attorney about what Mueller had concluded on obstruction, for an attorney general to do that on something so propitious and so important as Max Boot was just alluding to very eloquently, is just outrageous from a law enforcement point of view.
I want John to
rule of law point of view, but also my other point is just very stupid. Barr has made things much, much worse for this White House right now.
John, let's be honest, I'll let you respond to that. And my question is, you can respond to whatever Julian said, but my question is, was Barr calling balls and strikes in Trump's favor?
I don't think so, but suppose he is. I don't think he is. Just looking at the way he's acted, I think what he's been trying to do is actually rush the report out. I think what he was thinking, and this is just speculation.
But why then not put out? Hold on, why then not put out Mueller's summaries that he had already written for his own report?
Because I think he thought it would slow down. This is what he says, in the hearing yesterday. Is he thought it would slow down the process of declassifying and scrubbing the report. I don't know whether that's accurate or not. I wasn't there. None of us were there. But let me just say, Don, I agree with Julian, and I agree with you in this sense that suppose Barr was making things up. Suppose he was mischaracterizing, misrepresenting. Suppose it shows a political tenure. I think that's all great in a way, because I think the Constitution makes impeachment the real mechanism for controlling a president. And we have been making a mistake by expecting, and the Mueller report shows us, expecting prosecutors who work for the president to take on the job of curbing alleged abuses of presidential power. That's not what the framers thought. That's not what the Constitution says. So if Julian, you are right that this has the effect of prolonging the story and throwing it into Congress's lap and saying, you do something about it. I think that's what Mueller was doing. He's saying, here's all the evidence for obstruction. Congress can make use of it. He talks about impeachment in a footnote of his report. Then I think that's actually working out of the constitutional design. And so let's stop talking about prosecutors worrying about how Barr characterized Mueller or not. The real question before us now is whether the evidence in the Mueller report is going to be used by the House to open an impeachment inquiry. And that's what the Constitution really puts, where it puts the responsibility.
Well, listen, I think that everything is so politicized now, and if you push something to Congress or to the Senate, it's going to be politicized. I think Americans had confidence in an independent or a special counsel that it wouldn't be political in nature and that they could get down to the business independently of whether and how Russia interfered in the election, and if the administration or the campaign was somehow complicit in that. Thank you both. I appreciate it.
Nice to be with you, Don.
Thanks,
you
Don.
as well. Republicans are closing ranks, trying to make it seem like all of the investigations surrounding the president should be over and done now that Mueller's report is out. But is it the GOP? Is the GOP really okay with all of this?
Guys, I've got an idea. Ooh, what is it? So people love iPhone XR, right?
Well, it does have an incredible camera.
And it comes in all those amazing colors.
Mm-hmm. What if we give the people iPhone XR when they join T-Mobile?
iPhone XR on us?
Yeah, iPhone XR on us. What's not to love about that?
For a limited time, join T-Mobile and get the awesome iPhone XR on us.
Just a grilling and chilling, my favorite kind of time killing. No running.
Applebee's Bigger, Bolder Grill Combos. Now that's eating good in the neighborhood.
Audible Originals brings you big titles from big celebs, like Heads Will Roll from Kate McKinnon and Emily Lynn, plus the latest from Mel Robbins, David Spade, and many more. Original titles, big name celebs, all made to be heard, only from Audible.
There was nothing sane about Chernobyl.
Cut the phone lines. Contain the spread of misinformation.
What happened on the night of the accident?
You are dealing with something that has never occurred on this planet. Madness.
These days, you can't go anywhere without your phone in your hand. So to keep it secure when your hands are busy, WeatherTech invented the Cup Phone. With removable cups, the Cup Phone fits any size cup holder and adjusts to secure virtually any size phone. Tilts for perfect viewing, even allows easy access while charging. So if you're driving, boating, or even golfing, it fits perfectly. Whatever you drive, whatever phone you have, Cup Phone is the perfect fit. Order your American-made Cup Phone today at WeatherTech.com.
Meet the concealer thousands couldn't wait to try. New Infallible Full Wear Concealer by L'Oreal. With an extra-large applicator and full coverage formula. It shapes, covers, and contours. So much more than concealer. In 25 shades. New Infallible Full Wear Concealer.
If you live with diabetes, why fingerstick when you can scan? With the Freestyle Libre 14-day system, just scan the sensor with your reader or iPhone and manage your diabetes. With the Freestyle Libre 14-day system, a continuous glucose monitor, you can check your glucose levels anytime without fingersticks. Ask your doctor to write a prescription for the new Freestyle Libre 14-day system. You can do it without fingersticks. Learn more at freestylelibre.us.
There's an exotic place where you can swim in the sky, where you can expect the unexpected, where all the pleasures of a 5-star luxury vacation are all included. And dining is a global gourmet experience at 10 restaurants. Sandals Grenada. Experience the sandals of tomorrow. Today, call 1-800-SANDALS.
Hey, renovators. Time to dream bigger.
Wayfair, you're my new secret weapon. You got what I need for my renovation. I love all these options, so much to choose from. Bedrooms and basements, even in my kitchen, your service is sweet. And my job is complete. Wayfair, here I come.
Start your renovation at wayfair.com.
If you have a garden, you know weeds are low-down little scoundrels. Don't stoop to their level. Draw the line with the Roundup Sure Shot wand. It extends with a protective shield and targets weeds more precisely. It lets you kill what's bad right down to the root while guarding the good. Roundup Sure Shot wand. Got weeds in your grass too? Try Roundup for lawns. Kills weeds, not the lawn. Roundup brand. Trusted for over 40 years.
The feud's escalating between Attorney General Barr and the House Judiciary Committee. Barr failing to appear at a committee hearing this morning, and his Justice Department refusing to comply with congressional subpoena to turn over the full unredacted Mueller report. Let's discuss now. Anna Navarro's here, Rob Astorino. Hello.
Hello.
I hope you guys heard that fascinating conversation.
Yeah, we were.
Let's see if you can live up to that. Rob, House Democrats blasted the Attorney General for refusing to appear at today's hearing.
And fried chicken.
Not a word from Republicans, so why is that?
You know, there gets to be a point where basically everything's been covered. It's pure politics, and it does go into the realm of not oversight, because there's been a lot of it, but pure harassment. And I think we're reaching that point. I mean, he sat yesterday, he answered all the questions. It's not going to be the end of this, and yet they...
Can I just ask you a question?
Go ahead.
Did you say the same thing during Benghazi?
No, but here's the funny part. Here's the funny part. They're treating this like it's the first time it's ever happened. Eric Holder, who called himself Obama's wingman...
I know, and if he didn't comply, then he should...
He was held in contempt. He was the only AG ever held in contempt because he...
So how does that...
But that's not about... This is different. He's giving his opinions about a report that was issued. Holder was thwarting an investigation where weapons were...
Allegedly, and that never came to fruition.
Because they stopped it.
That never turned out to be true. That became one of those conspiracy theories.
Oh, come on.
Yes, it did.
Whataboutism, whataboutism, whataboutism. Oh. You know, people, and it's happening all over in our political system. Democrats who were against, getting Bill Clinton to have to admit to things, to, obstruction of justice, perjury, they are now not against it. And Republicans, like my friend Lindsey Graham, who were leading the charge back then, all of a sudden have had this coming to Jesus where it is a completely different world. And we see that happening when it comes to the Attorney General as well. Look, the Congress has an oversight duty. And it does not feel like under Republicans that oversight duty is being upheld. I adore Lindsey Graham. I've known him for years, and it pains me. It pains me more than I can explain to you, because it almost feels to me like part of Lindsey Graham died with John McCain. I don't recognize the Lindsey Graham that is in charge of these committee hearings right now. And it does not feel like we are getting all the answers. It feels like there's this systematic whitewashing and undermining of the Mueller report, beginning with Bill Barr, who, unlike Jeff Sessions, is lending himself to doing this in order to keep his job. Just what he did of when he released this, the timing of it alone tells you everything. He waited until the day before Easter and Passover to release this when he knew Congress was going to be out for the next 2 weeks in an effort to try to deflate the story. It's just,
you think they've been doing everything to shape the narrative. And everyone's saying, well, this isn't about a letter. It's really about the opportunity to shape a narrative. And then after hearing him...
Both sides are trying to do that.
But listen, but both sides would try to do it, but there's only one side that is doing it in the moment that we could should discuss.
Well, here's why I differ with you on that one. What was the first thing you've heard out of the mouths of how many senators before anyone even spoke? Impeach! Impeach! I mean, it's like they're trying to get their own narrative now.
You mean
after
impeach Bill Barr?
Impeach anybody. I mean, Blumenthal can't run fast enough to a camera to scream something.
Well,
even before the hearing starts.
You're talking about the presidential candidates.
The Democrat that most...
But that's a narrative.
Nancy Pelosi does not want to impeach.
Right. No, but she said, what she said yesterday was a very strong allegation.
Has the
a lie.
But Nancy Pelosi, you know, you said that the folks had said that before seeing the report. Nancy Pelosi, before seeing the report, had completely squashed any effort of impeachment because she thought it wasn't politically expedient. It's after seeing the report and seeing all of these redactions and seeing the letter from Mueller and figure. What do you mean? There's very few redactions.
In the report,
Everybody has
in the
seen
450-page
the
report.
pages.
Let me ask you, the special counsel laid out 10 instances for Congress to investigate for potential obstruction of justice. Are Republicans okay with that?
Left out what?
Obstruction of justice.
He laid out 10 instances of obstruction of justice.
Mueller, if he felt very, very strongly about it, should have said, we believe that there's a case for obstruction of justice and we believe this should move forward.
Well, he said there was a case for obstruction of justice, but basically under the DOJ guidelines, nothing would come of it.
He should have gone straight at it because
it gave Congress the ability to do that.
Mueller has been the honest broker in this entire thing. He laid out the case, but he also understood that he was under this DOJ directive, and he also thought that he would be unfair to the president if he laid out the case, said he obstructed justice, and then there was not going to be a chance for him to defend himself because he was not going to be indicted. Bob Mueller, regardless of which side of this you are in or on, we owe that guy such a debt of gratitude for his commitment to country over politics.
Last word.
Everyone's making out like this is, a slam dunk obstruction of justice. I think that's insane. And it starts with the whole Comey, should he have been fired, and what was his reasoning? Even Comey said in testimony, the president can fire me for any reason or none at all. And so, the Democrats are nitpicking every little thing because they've got to keep this narrative going because they failed on the Russia collusion. So now they've got to keep moving this ball because we are going into a presidential election.
Because we are going into a presidential race, it is so necessary that the things that happened in 2016, the corruption of the integrity of the democratic election system, not happen again. I live in Florida. We just learned the other day that there were election systems in Florida that were compromised. This is no longer theoretical when it comes to Florida.
Though. No votes
You
changed.
don't know that. We don't know. They haven't even told us what. They have not said anything.
Nor were there any votes changed.
Listen, I've got to go, but I just want to say, listen, you mentioned this is what Comey said a while back. This is what he said recently. Accomplished people lacking inner strength can't resist the compromises necessary to survive Mr. Trump, and that adds up to something that they will never recover from, basically. And then he goes on to say that Trump eats small bites of your soul. You wrote this about Lindsey Graham. You're very passionate. You said, many of us respected and admired you. You tweeted this today. You rode the Straight Talk Express. You used to put principle over politics. You were a truth teller once, and now you're wondering what happened.
It hurts me. Listen, I remember when Lindsey Graham was willing to risk an election because he believed in immigration reform.
Yeah.
And to see him put an election above national security and above what I felt he believed is very, very painful.
Thank you both. I appreciate it. We'll be right back.
With Shark's Duo Clean, I don't just clean, I deep clean carpets and floors. So I got this. Yep, this too. And this, please. Even long hair and pet hair are no problem. But the one thing I won't have to clean is this. Because the Shark self-cleaning brush roll removes the hair wrap while I clean.
Shark, the vacuum that deep cleans, now cleans itself.
Allergies with sinus congestion and pressure? You won't find relief here. Go to the pharmacy counter for powerful Claritin D. While the leading allergy spray only relieves 6 symptoms, Claritin D relieves 8, including sinus congestion and pressure. Claritin D relieves more.
Some things are out of your control, like bedhead. Rub-a-dub ducky. And then there's National Car Rental. At National, I'm in total control. I can just skip the counter and choose any car in the aisle I like. So I can rent fast without getting a hair out of place. Hey. Control. Go National. Go like a pro.
It's Blue Diamond, the nonstick fry pan infused with millions of diamonds. So nonstick, it's like cooking on air. Absolutely nothing sticks to Blue Diamond. Safe to oven bake, broil up to 850 degrees. Blue Diamond lasts 10 times longer. Metal safe, it's 5 times harder. Only Blue Diamond has the solid forged base. Even this sledgehammer can't dent Blue Diamond. It's the strongest pan known to man. Dishwasher safe. Get Blue Diamond, the best nonstick pan you'll ever own. Now at these fine retailers.
I think I finally found my hallelujah. I've been waiting for this moment.
Book now and enjoy free unlimited open bar and more.